Data is the backbone of everything we do. Imagine losing access to it because of a server crash or a natural disaster. Scary, right? But what if your data was protected by a system so reliable that it's practically unbreakable? That's what Azure's data redundancy offers. In this video, our trainer will take you on a journey through the 6 smart redundancy mechanisms Azure uses to keep your data safe, how these mechanisms work to ensure reliability even in the worst scenarios, and how Azure's regional and multi-regional storage options give you a peace of mind. Ready to discover how Azure makes data loss a thing of the past? Let's dive in and unlock the secret to a rock solid data protection.
Redundancy, right? So here Azure is offering you 6 different type of redundancy. So currently if you see we have LRS, so it is showing me that current region is like central US and it is something like up and running for my data storage. Now if I change from LRS to GRS, geo redundant storage, and if I just clicking it on save, what Microsoft gonna do? Microsoft replicate my data to the failover region with the secondary region provision along with me, and there is no option given to you that you can choose that. Okay, currently you are going ahead with central US, then what is your secondary location, right? So here Microsoft opt for secondary region on its own, as per the region pairing criteria. If you remember when we were talking about in day one discussion that Microsoft is offering you region pairing scenario, right? So in this region pairing scenario, this options basically works into that scenario. So that primary region is allowing you to perform read write operation, and secondary region is your particular failover region. And secondary region will no longer be accessible unless and until your primary goes down. How you can verify that? If you see this storage endpoints, if I click on this view all, you can only see the endpoints which are available for your primary region. Secondary region, it will be only available in the time of failover, or in the time of like your primary region goes down. So whatever the data you store into your primary region, asynchronously or eventual replication happens from primary to secondary, and then you will be able to restore that particular data if your primary region goes down. So let's understand what these 6 replication mechanism looks like. Okay, so when we are working with storage account, so here, before getting into another demo, here there are like 6 replication Microsoft is offering. Out of them, 4 are primary and 2 are like added later stage. So one of them is LRS, locally storage, right? So it will be LRS, locally redundant storage, and you will be able to store and capture the information into local storage. We have ZRS, zone redundant storage. We have GRS, geo redundant storage, and we have RA-GRS, which is Read Access Geo-Redundant Storage. So these are the 4 redundancy options are available, which we can figure it out that which one you wanted to go for, and then accordingly you will be able to work with that storage options the way it is expected. So here, starting with LRS. LRS basically works with this kind of scenario where we can have we can have 3 copy of data into single region. One is primary and remaining 2 will be your secondary. So you will get the 3 copy of your data. So if I want to consider, LRS provide you 3 copies of data into single region under single facility. So facility is more about your It's more about your particular cloud data center, right? Where Microsoft is providing that particular data center, and under that particular data center, this particular files will get stored. So here I can say the advantage over here is that it will allow you to protect your data from server level, network level, and you can say rack level failure. So it will provide you kind of protection against these particular type of failures. Replica across the copy, it will perform sync operation across the copy, lower in cost and best suitable for compliance kind of requirement. So if I am looking for this kind of business objective, then LRS best suitable in this particular requirement, right? Because the data is stored somewhere in the single data center within the region. It's not moving outside, so the cost is lower, replication is faster, operation will be synchronized because of the same data center residency, same region residency of the data, so that in that case, it will be faster and available at any point of time. The drawback of this particular mechanism is that if the data center goes down, then you will no longer have access to this data. So in this particular case, you might have to work with some alternatives, and in that particular alternatives, it will allow you to restore that particular data back, and then you will be able to go ahead with that options the way it is expected. So we have LRS is one of the first mechanism. Second mechanism, LRS, I mean, it's more about data center restricted activity. So here we can consider that Microsoft is offering you the option in terms of, you can say, in terms of the option of availability zones. Okay. So availability zone, we know that it will be separate from each other from the location perspective. They are like 1,000 miles away from each other, and then you will have your particular data distributed amongst those particular location, and it will help you out in terms of segregating your information. So it will same process, 3 copies of data into single region under more than one facility, right? So it will provide you a kind of advantage that your data gets replicated across the data center, and in that particular case, it will provide you a kind of option, or maybe provide you a kind of like activity where you just need to simply replicate your particular data across the data center. So allows you to protect your data from server level, network level, and rack level. So here I will add and data center level failure. It will perform sync operation only, right? So it will provide you a kind of like sync operation. Of course, not in lower in cost, because data is moving out of that data center, so that it will be spread across the different facility. So in that case, cost will be applicable because data is moving out outside of that particular data center. Still, data resides into the same region. So advantages basically you can restore your data any point of given time, and then it will be spread across the data center. Microsoft is using their backbone network for data replications across these availability zones, and it will restore your particular data the way we are like looking at it. So in this particular scenario, what we need to do is that we need to figure it out, like what is the scope we are like looking at it, or maybe in case we need to plan and manage or work with this particular option, then in that particular scenario, you will be able to pick up this particular ZRS as a mechanism. Now again, ZRS is restricted to the single region only. If that region goes down, then what will happen? So if you observe, here we are adding redundancy one level up for our data and making sure that the data will be available all the given time. So here I will consider that if this is the case, then here something like this. So here I will consider that this is my region pairing concepts works. So here I can say I'll have primary and I'll have secondary. So primary will be always active and secondary region will be always passive. Okay. So here you will get 6 copies of data into 2 region. Okay. It will allows you to protect all these particular features and region level failure. It will perform async operation across the copy, right? So it will provide you that particular asynchronous mechanism, and then it will be a kind of async process. We will get it, and it will allow you to perform this particular data replications across the location the way we are like looking at it. So here it will replicate your data from primary to secondary, right? And then you can have this particular access of this particular data to be available. Now here one limitation is that, of course, I mean redundancy, you get it in a better way because your data is completely move out of region. So there will be cost will be higher in that case, uh, comparative to LRS and ZRS. And then it will make sure that you can restore back your particular data any point of given time, and you will be able to connect and work with those informations or work with those options the way it is expected. So here, while going through with this particular process, here Azure is going to help you out, or maybe you can say it will provide you a kind of mechanism where you can think of that. Let's imagine the scenario. Say, for example, I have a business use case where primary region I have a development team sitting on, and they are basically performing read write operation for my particular data. So I wanted that my application will be accessed properly. I can have a particular better visibility around this particular informations and all of that. And then we wanted to go ahead with this particular like information to be work out in that particular scenario. So the objective over here is that we are planning or we are looking at the scenario where the from the information perspective, let's imagine that I have analytics team, and that analytics team I wanted to use the data to be for some particular analysis point of view. And in that particular case, this information supposed to be captured from that particular secondary region, because primary region is allowing you to perform read write and all. So I don't want to throttle my primary region just for reading the data. But in that case, the secondary region is disabled unless and until you do not like get the failover scenario. It will not allow you to get into that, and then accordingly you will be able to connect and access that. So here we will get the option. We will basically have the kind of scenario in place, and cloud point of view, it will provide you a kind of better options that uh, the other workaround maybe we can think through, and that other workaround is RA-GRS. So RA-GRS works as is, like GRS is basically working in, and here I can say GRS plus read access from secondary location. Okay. So here, if you see right now, I mean, when I selected GRS, the second region was not readable. But if I change it to read access and save this particular storage account, then Microsoft will basically enable, I mean, it will give me a kind of option that primary region is working fine, but from secondary region, I will be able to read the data, and there is a separate endpoints are available for the different storage options, what I'm looking at it. So this will be your read access to your secondary location, and then you will be able to read those particular information coming from this particular secondary environment what we have. So these are some of the replication or redundancy what we can have. Along with this, Microsoft has added two more replication mechanism for this thing. what do you can say from the ZRS point of view, Microsoft has added GZRS, and you can have RA-GZRS. Okay, so it will be Geo-Zone Redundant Storage and Read Access Geo-Zone Redundant Storage. So the advantage is that Microsoft allows you to store your particular data across the region as well. So here I can consider that these are falling into this particular level, and probably you can think of this way, that if you have a business use case where you are supposed to plan your data storage, if it's a regional, then these two particular replication or redundancy works best in that case. If you are looking for better SLA, you will go ahead with ZRS. If you're looking for compliance and those kind of requirement, you will go ahead with LRS, right? So I'm just like segregating so it will become easy for you to visualize. And if you are planning to go ahead with the other mechanism, right, like multi-region and all, so in that particular case, multi-region perspective, you have the options where your data will get captured into multiple regions, and then you can store those particular information accordingly as a part of it. So this GZRS, RA-GZRS fall into that particular category, and then probably we can store our data or plan with that region pairing scenario and then have redundancy in place as a part of it. So ultimately, the goal over here is that to provide you a kind of better approach, or maybe you can say provide you a kind of better activity in terms of planning and working with your particular storage related options. And in that particular storage related option, this is something maybe we can like look into that, and then it will provide you kind of option where you can store the informations the way it is expected. So this is like a kind of approach maybe we can plan, or we can like look into that. And probably if you are planning to store any such informations as a part of it, then this is something maybe we can use it. Yeah. So when you design, you need to consider all these parameters, that what level of failure you are expecting, and looking at the business critical application requirement, how you want to restore your data. Normally, when we go ahead with designing solutions, we also consider RTO and RPO. That what is the percentage of data loss we are okay with it? What is the aggregated time we are expecting for that service to be up and running? So those classifications we consider well when we are designing the solution, and based on that, we will plan for this particular redundancy features. That okay, looking at the requirement, is it the same region? Is it the across region? And then probably we can plan our solutions. Make sense?
Well, that was our expert, and thank you so much for staying with us till the end of the video. Now all you have to do is just click the link in the description below, or if you are just starting out, just type k21academy.com/azure02. Now all you have to do is just enter name, enter email ID, enter phone number, and click on register now, and you will be redirected to this page. You can also add this to your Google Calendar or Apple Calendar, and I promise this is something that you don't want to miss. So go ahead, click on the link and step into the world where learning knows no boundaries. Till then, keep enjoying. I'll see you in the next video.